to my channel. I am the Masked Trans, and you are watching me, baby. Now, before we get today's video started, I just want to say what's up to my peeps and give a middle finger to the creeps. You know who you are. So let's talk about it. Today we're going to talk about Demi Lovato. I also want to talk a little bit about a story that I saw over on Funky Dineva's channel about an Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity member who decided to walk their graduation with a pink pantsuit and high heels. And I just thought that was a very interesting story, so I wanted to touch on those two stories in particular. So let's begin with Demi Lovato, pop star, Disney alum. Who doesn't know Demi Lovato? So Demi Lovato came out recently as non-binary. Now I know some of you might be scratching your heads or other parts of your anatomy trying to figure out what does non-binary. If you're scratching other parts of your anatomy, put this video on pause and go see a doctor. So Demi Lovato came out as non-binary. So for those of you who may not be familiar with the term non-binary, it essentially means that you do not identify as either male or female. You just identify as you. And typically if you are non-binary, you're going to go by pronouns them, they, and their. I'll say it again, them, they, and their. So when I heard the story about Demi Lovato, I was like, I'm not going to even lie, I was a little cynical. I was a little cynical, and it was just like, that came out of nowhere. We also know that Ellen Page, or Elliot Page, came out as trans, I believe, a year or so ago. So it seems like a lot more celebrities are sort of becoming more in tune with their gender identities. Now, what makes Demi Lovato's particular case so interesting, like I was saying a few moments ago, initially when I heard about it, I was a little cynical and sort of side-eyeing Demi, like, you know, like, what is this about? But when you really start to think about it, what does she have to gain from coming out as non-binary? What's the reward? It's not like it's going to, you know, cause her to have a larger fan base. She's pretty much an icon in the LGBTQ community already. So there really was nothing to incentivize her to come out as non-binary other than living in her truth. So to that I say bravo. You know, anyone who is willing to step into their truth, especially a person with such a public platform as Demi Lovato, it can't be easy. I know a lot of people think that because you're a celebrity, somehow that makes it easier for you to be yourself. But I think that when you're a celebrity, it probably takes a lot more thought because you have a lot more to lose if this doesn't go the way you hope that it will go. So congratulations to Demi. You know, however Demi chooses to be identified, I hope that they will have a happy existence. And maybe this whole non-binary thing, you know, we've seen her have issues with substance abuse. Maybe this is one of those things that was sort of eating away at her internally, causing her to have some of those issues. And maybe now having the fortitude and the strength to come out and say, hey, world, this is who I am. Maybe living authentically will have her live a more happier existence. So good on you, Demi Lovato. I'm so happy that you're living in your truth, and welcome to the family. All right, so this next story I'm going to touch on comes courtesy of one of my favorite YouTubers, and that is Funky Dineva. I was watching Funky Dineva's channel earlier today, and he was speaking about a young man who is part of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity who apparently wore a pink pantsuit, a pink woman's pantsuit, and high heels to his graduation. Now, I don't want to put words in Funky Dineva's mouth, but I'm going to sort of paraphrase my understanding of Funky Dineva's position. So based on what I understood, it seems like Funky Dineva believes that this particular young man pulled a fast one on the fraternity by appearing to be gender conforming, only to wait until graduation to pull in a gotcha moment. And Dineva doesn't feel like that was a fair thing to do. And I have to respectfully disagree. Here are my feelings on it. Be you, right? Now, sometimes being you means that you have to turn the volume down or turn the volume up, depending on what the circumstances are or what the end goal or end game may be. So here you have a young man. I'm assuming young man. If he's wearing, you know, pink pantsuit and heels, I'm not sure if he identifies as non-binary, a la Demi Lovato, but for purposes of this story, we will use male pronouns until we know otherwise. So he is entitled to express himself however he wants to. And the thing that frustrates me most about this is that there is such a societal double standard, right? If a girl had chosen to wear a man's pantsuit and men's shoes and cornrows to the back, no one would have said anything. This wouldn't even be a discussion. It's so much wouldn't have been a discussion that we would have never heard of it. It would have just gone completely under the radar because no one cares. But there's this belief that black masculinity is under attack, and so anything outside of what is considered traditionally masculine. And let me tell you something. Wearing a pink pantsuit and high heels to a black graduation is masculinity, bravery, whatever you want to call it, at its finest, right? You have to be brave, bold, brazen, and unapologetically you in order to do something like that. Do you get what I'm saying? Whether you agree with it or not, you have to admit that it takes a certain level of bravery to walk in a room and show up completely as yourself. Even though he had on a pink pantsuit and high heels, he basically showed up to his graduation completely naked and said, here I am. Let that sink in for a minute, because I hope you understand what I'm saying. It takes a certain level of courage to be yourself if you happen to be an effeminate black male. So I really appreciate what this young man did. You know, I remember growing up, there was a time where we were taught that you don't put braids in your hair to go to work. We were taught that you don't twist and dread your hair because it's nasty, it's unsanitary. Those people who have dreadlocks don't wash their hair. I'm sure I'm not the only one who heard this growing up. So you grow up hearing all of these messages about, you know, what you need to do in order to fit in and in order to be successful. And for me, I bought into a lot of those fallacies. And the one thing I appreciate about this generation is this generation just doesn't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't care. And I love the fact that people have just had enough of trying to fit into these boxes that society, because, you know, gender is a social construct. It's a social construct. What you wear does not determine who you are. So why are we judging this young man for wearing a pink pantsuit and high heels? Who cares? You know, like, we should be celebrating the fact that a black man graduated. A black man went to college and this is what you're focused on? Come on. Come on, we have to get our priorities straight here. You know, a black man is defying statistics, going to college, and whether it's in a pink pantsuit or a Air Force Ones or whatever they choose to, a European cut suit choose to wear, he's in school and he's graduating. And that should be the focal point. This is a cause for celebration, not scrutiny. Having said that, I'm going to step off my soapbox and go back to doing what I'm doing. My phone rang. You probably hear that in the video. I'm also doing some laundry. But take a moment to think about that. You know, it really doesn't matter. Everything that you put on is essentially drag. You know, but RuPaul famously said that. You know, anything that you put on is drag. Whether it's a suit, whether you're wearing quote unquote, you know, male clothing or female clothing, whatever you choose to put on is immaterial to the person that you are. Immaterial. We're speaking of clothes. I like that. All right, you guys. I need to go. It's been fun, but I have to run. As always in closing, I need you to remember and ask yourself this question. Why be better when you can be better? I'll talk to you guys again in my next video. Bye.